Now, I want to bring into the conversation Hussain Abul-Hussain, a research fellow at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. What is the main reason for this trip? Is it really just to check in to see how is it going with the formation of the new government, or what can we really expect?
The whole ceasefire was premised on the idea that the United States will remain involved. The mechanism and enforcement of 1701 that led to this ceasefire includes the United States, of course, chairing this five-member committee on both sides of the border. So the United States must remain involved for 1701 to be enforced and for Hezbollah to surrender its arms. I think what the Lebanese are trying to do, probably they'll try to sync their American visitors with details about cabinet formation. And I think the U.S. officials would be well advised to stay out of these details and focus on the big picture, which is disarming Hezbollah.
All right, so I wanted to ask you about this because the U.S. is the main supporter and funder of the Lebanese army, but how much influence do they have in the political sphere in Lebanon? This new government, you're saying the U.S. must be involved, but to a certain extent, how much do they actually have? How much influence do they have to push the political part of this discussion?
Enormous influence. The United States is probably the biggest influential player at this point. The Saudis are out of Lebanon. They've been out for a while. The French don't have much influence. Iran is beaten. So this leaves the United States with the biggest influencer of Lebanese events. Now, like I said, the trick here is that what Hezbollah will try to do is to drag the United States into a political quagmire and get things stuck in who gets which portfolio and this name or that name. And I think that'll be a big mistake if Washington gets involved in these nitty-gritty details of the Lebanese politics. I think we have to remind the Lebanese at all times that the ceasefire is not the goal by itself. The ceasefire is there for Hezbollah to get disarmed and for the IDF to be able to hand back whatever territory to a reliable partner, which should be the LAF. And of course, after all that, there should be demarcation of the border between the two sides, the 13 disputed points. And dare I say, we're probably talking about peace, but this is something that this administration will really have to squeeze the Lebanese. The word peace is still not there yet, but we can really convince the Lebanese to start debating peace.
All right. While you were speaking, we were watching images from Hezbollah training camps. A lot has changed for Hezbollah in Lebanon in the past year. Where does the organization stand right now politically in the country?
The organization is much weaker. If it's weaker militarily, then that means that it'll be weaker also on the political side. The organization is almost broke. The infrastructure of its supporters has been raised down. So Hezbollah is in a hole. And Hezbollah only let the election of President Joseph Aoun happen because Hezbollah is hoping that if the political scene starts moving, then maybe they would get money to rebuild in the south and elsewhere. So it is weak, but weak is not enough. The Lebanese must step up, and they have not stepped up yet. So we'll see what Americans can do to convince the Lebanese to step up.
All right, Hussain Abul-Hussain, thank you very much for your analysis and your insight.